And I don't know if you remember the meaning of these 6 lines. I'm going to repeat it. So, this means emptiness. This means virtual. This means actual. This means sign. This means being. And this means thing. So you can see, for example, that in this case, you have on the actual being. And here, for example, it is the actual sign. And here it is the actual thing. And it's the same on the top, but instead of being actual, it is virtual. Now, I think that you understand the distinction between virtual and actual. Basically, what is actual can be situated in the spatial-temporal continuum. It exists somewhere in space and time. And what is virtual cannot be situated inside the spatial-temporal continuum. For example, if I think about, I don't know, justice or beauty, can you tell me where exactly is the beauty? Where exactly is the justice? You can't, okay? It's a general category, it's an abstraction. It does not exist somewhere. That's why it is virtual, but it's not because it is virtual that it does not exist, because it organizes our life, our mind, our interactions, and so on. So it exists, but it is not actual, it is just virtual. Okay, now, a little bit more complex, sign being thing. Yesterday night, when I came back in my hotel room, as I'm a Twitter addict, I looked at the, hashtag 2010 CC, and I found a comment, this sign being thing is already in Peirce, the American philosopher who is one of the great philosophers of semiotics. Okay, it is in Peirce, it is also in contemporary linguistics, and you can find it during the whole history of philosophy, during the Middle Ages, and it goes back to Aristotle. So I don't pretend that it is my personal invention, but it is very important to understand it. Okay. I say the word microphone. So this is the sound. Okay? This is the sign or the signifier. There is the concept of microphone that is not in English or in French or in Portuguese. It is an abstract class. Because, how do you say microphone in Portuguese? No, it's a bad example because it is Greek, microphone. Anyway, but maybe in Chinese it's something completely different. It is not. But anyway, we can distinguish that the same concept can be represented by different signifiers in different languages. So it's evident that the concept or the signified is something different than the signifier. Okay? So we know this distinction of the signified and the signifier. The signified, it is a concept, it is a general category. So as a general category, it cannot exist in the material world. It exists necessarily in some minds, because there is no general concept or no abstract category outside of a mind. It is created by a cognitive process. It does not exist. It is not something that can be perceived. It is abstracted. So anytime you have a signified, you have an interpreter or someone or some mind for who the signifier means the signified. Okay? So for me, the signified and the mind are always related, and I call it the being. But these concepts goes back again from the beginning of the philosophy. And then you have a third aspect, and it is what I have in my hand. This is the thing, the reference. So there is a ternarity, the sign, the being for who there is a concept or a meaning and so on, and the thing. And what is interesting is that you cannot have one without the two others, because they are functionally related. And I cannot say that the reference is always a material thing. For example, if I am speaking about justice, there is a concept of justice, but it refers to something. If I am speaking about justice, I am referring to something that is abstract, but that is nevertheless, in this case, the thing. Okay? Or me, myself, I can be the being, or I can be used as a sign. For example, when you see Pierre Lévy entering this room, you will tweet this, so I am used as a signal or as a sign. Or I can be the reference. Okay? So it's not some entity that is a sign, a being, or a thing. It is a function that and any kind of entity can play this function. So I hope that this is relatively clear. So now you know the basic pieces of the game. Okay? The virtual, the actual, the sign, the being, and the thing. And this game, only the human beings can play it, not the animals. The animals can communicate, and there is a kind of semiotic relation that they can have access to. For example, they can recognize that, oh, this is an imprint of another animal, or this is the smell of something. So they recognize that there are signs of something. They can obviously communicate their emotions, or they can communicate important things about their environment, like, there is food here, or beware, there is a predator, or something. But animals don't have the full ability to manipulate symbols as we have. And I will develop this longer very soon, but I can tell you immediately that no animal is able to ask questions, no animal is able to tell stories, And no animal is able to entertain a conversation or a dialogue. Okay, this is purely human, and it is based on our ability to manipulate symbols, and particularly natural languages.